Russ Piggott, and he is a AVP and branch manager of a local Logan City Center branch of the Bank of Utah. He's been in mortgage originations, production, servicing, and senior management for 35 years. He's also qualified for Leaders Club, President's Club, or Chairman's Club, or Circle production honors for the past 27 years. He's been the top 10% of national loan production officers based on number of units closed and loan volume, and has worked almost every aspect of the mortgage loan industry: production, servicing, senior management, quality control, but the majority has been in loan originations and branch management. He's also the father of 2 children and the grandfather of 7.8 grandchildren. He also enjoys anything athletic and spending time with family and friends. Please join me on behalf of the John M. Huntsman School of Business in welcoming Russ.
Thank you. That was nice. Well, thanks. This is a real pleasure for me to be here. I do recognize a few faces. Hello, Jennifer. This may be kind of a different presentation than what you've had in the past because I'm not in HR. In my 35 years, I've hired hundreds of people, and I've unfortunately had to fire a few, but my emphasis is not HR. My background is not HR, and my duties daily do not involve much HR, but what they do involve is mortgage lending. And my life in the financial services industry has given me a lot of experience with commission-based loan officers versus salaried-based loan officers. So that's going to be our focus of our discussion today, is going to be talking about the differences between salaried-based loan officers versus commission-based loan officers. And we're hopefully going to have a very interactive, because if you don't raise your hand, I'll call on you. So it's that simple. The start of our presentation today is going to begin with what I call a blind survey, okay, which means that I'm going to ask 9 questions and you have to participate, okay, because I have one basic philosophy, and that is that opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has one, okay? So I need everybody to participate so I can get a pretty accurate idea of your perception of salaried compensation workforce versus a commission-based. So, okay, everybody close your eyes. Duck your head. Question number 1 is, which is easier to manage? Commissioned loan officers or salaried loan officers? So all those that say commissioned, raise their hand. Okay, all those that say salaried. Next question. Which is more loyal employee? Commission-based or salaried-based? So all those say commission. Salaried. Which employee is harder working? Commissioned or salaried? All those say commission. Salaried. Which employee makes more money for the company? All those that say commissioned. All those say salaried. Which employee poses more risk to the company? Commissioned. Salaried. Which employee costs the company more to manage? Commissioned? Salaried. Which employee costs the consumer more? Commissioned? Salaried. Which employee gives better service? Commission? Salaried. Last question. Which employee makes more personal income? Commission? Salary. Terrific, thanks. Okay, we're going to get started. So I already have some victims up here. So what was your name?
Tyler.
Tyler. Okay. Tyler, you are a salaried loan officer. Okay? As of right now, you make $75,000 a year. Okay, you good with that? Okay. So, hey, don't sit down. Boy, welcome to class.
Thank you.
That's what happens when you show up late. Come on up. What was your name?
Grady.
What was it again?
Grady?
Grady?
Yeah.
Okay, Grady, you are a commission loan officer, right there. Grady makes 1% commission, okay? Right now, which would you guys rather be? Would you rather be Tyler? Raise them up. How many of you guys would rather be Tyler? How many would rather be Grady? How come? Commission is better? Okay, going to find out. We're going to diagram loan economics for you. Okay, loan economics are, when you make a mortgage loan, there is value to a mortgage loan. Okay, grab my notes real quick. We're going to use $200,000 as an average loan. And the revenue is based upon a 1% origination fee, which would be equal to what? $2,000. There's usually a 0.5% in what's called miscellaneous fees, which is equal to $1,000. And then there's 1.5%, and that's considered the value of the loan. Whoops. And that's equal to $3,000. So the total revenue generated by an average mortgage loan is going to be $6,000. Okay? So we're going to find out which is better. So if we close one loan, one mortgage loan, what's Tyler going to make? What's he going to make? $6,250 for the month. If you close one loan in that month, what's Grady going to make? He's going to make $2,000. Which would you rather be? Why? Makes more money. Okay. Now, let's talk about the cost of the loan. Every time a loan is produced, we'll just go off this sheet. There's either a 1% commission or the salary of $6,250. So the commission is $2,000 versus $6,250. The normal cost to produce a loan is 1.5%. In other words, $3,000. So the normal cost to produce a single mortgage on a commission basis is $5,000. Okay? Still costs $3,000 to produce the loan. So now it costs $9,250. Okay? Did the company make money on Tyler? Mm-mm. Did the company make money on Grady? Why? Jennifer, how come? Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't have to pay out as much as they did for Tyler.
He gets paid $6,250 if he does one loan. He only gets compensated if he closes a loan. He's commissioned. He doesn't make any revenue, personal income, if he doesn't close a transaction. And if he closes one, he makes $2,000. It costs $3,000 to produce it, so he makes $2,000, and the company makes $1,000. So which is a better employee for my company? Him or him?
That's if he closes it.
Okay.
If he doesn't close it, he's just paying $1,000.
Okay. But if he doesn't close anything, he still costs me $62.50. So if they don't close a single loan, he's way expensive. If he doesn't close a loan, do I have much expense? No. He's off playing. He didn't close anything. So which is a better employee for me as a company to have? Really?
What if he closes like 50 loans?
Okay. Well, we're talking about one loan. As of right now, one loan.
For one loan, him, but like Tyler has less stress. I'm talking about something else. Just forget about it.
Yeah. It's already forgotten. Okay, 3 loans. 3 loans. What kind of revenue is 3 loans going to generate? Okay, remember, $6,000 per loan times 3 is equal to $18,000. Okay, how much is Grady going to make? $6,000. Not bad, bud. Atta boy. It's going to cost me $9,000. So over here I got Grady at $6,000 commission, 1.5 times. It's going to cost me $9,000 to produce. So that's $15,000. So as a company, I'm going to make what? I'm going to make $3,000. So you actually made more than I did as a company. What's up with that? Okay, same thing over here. $18,000 revenue, $9,000 expense. You still made your $6,250. He ends up making the company $2,750. So pretty much even. Which would you rather have? Commission? Salary? Yeah.
Do you need to factor in benefits and that kind of thing, or is this my entire compensation package?
Don't mess up my class. They both make me about $3,000. He made $6,000. He made $6,250. Everything's pretty much even. Okay? As an employer, you guys are HR. Which one would you rather have? All those that say commission? Why? Why? Tell me why. They're even.
I think it saves the cost, and I think there's just more motivation for the commission. So as long as they have proper training, I think it's going to get them to work better for you because they have more motivation than sometimes the salaries do.
Okay, because that's exactly where we're going. We're going to go to 10 loans. $10 loans times 6,000 is how much revenue? $60,000. $2 million producer. 1% of $2 million is how much did, is it Brady or Grady?
Great.
Grady. How much did Grady make? $20,000. Sweet. It still costs me 1.5 to produce the loan. 1.5, $30,000. So as a company, I make $10,000. You made 20. Sweet. So how much did you make? $6,250. But how much did the company make? A lot. What was your name?
James.
James said earlier, what if he produces more loans? Well, in this case, Tyler made me $23,750. You made me 10. He made me 23,000. Okay. As an employer, which one would I rather have? Here? All those that say Tyler, raise your hand. He's over here raising his hand. He just made $20,000. He made $6,250. As an employer, would I rather make $23,000? Probably.
Well, I mean, if they're both equally motivated to produce, if they
both come to the table with just as much gain and just as many sales for the company, then if they're past the threshold that pays them equally, then it's a lot nicer to have someone whose salary.
Okay. You used a word in the very beginning of that called motivation.
If they're money motivated, he's a lot more motivated than him.
He's got a lot more ambition. How many loans do you think your average salaried loan officer makes? 3. 3. Because why?
Because there's no pressure on him.
There's no incentive to do any more than 3. Okay? So if I'm going to try and do, if you're only producing 3 and he's producing 10, I'm making less money, but he's not going to do 10 loans. So what was your name?
Derek.
Derek. You're now a salaried loan officer because I need more volume. What was your name?
Josh.
Josh. So I have to hire 3 loan officers at $6,250 per loan officer to equal what Tyler does. Well, add 12,000 to this scenario, and how much do I make? About the same as what Grady's making me. Now the big question is, would you rather manage 3 loan officers or 1 loan officer? How many?
I'd rather manage 1 than 1.
Why?
Because your risk is lower with 1 than 3.
Okay.
Just to play advocate, I'm kind of leaning towards 1, but with 3 you kind of have diversity, and I think that to some extent you have less risk because if you lose your 1, then you're completely out. Where at 3 there's like a little bit more security. But I'm just playing advocate there. I'm not entirely sure. I'm kind of leaning towards 1 as well.
No, that's great. That's a great observation. So if I lose 1 loan officer, I lose all $2 million production. I lose 1 over here, I lose 3 loans.
Yeah, you're more diverse with the 3. So
Okay.
diversity is good.
But from an HR perspective, is there more risk in trying to manage 3 people? Now, can I operate a company with 3 loan officers or 1 officer? So now, multiply it by 100. So if I want to make $1 million a month as a company, I have to have 100 of these guys. To make $1 million a month, I've got to have 300. Now, which would you rather manage? 300
100.
or...
Less is better to manage in my mind.
But does the same philosophy apply? You could lose some loan officers and still stay productive? Okay. So along comes Bob. I need a Bob. Bob! You don't look like a Bob. Bobby? Her name's really not Bobby, is it? Is it? Okay, you got to come up. What is your name?
Becca.
Hi, well, it's close. Becca. Becca now is a new addition to my company. She is a top producer. She makes $6 million in production a month. Okay? Is that good?
Finally.
She just bailed out of the HR program.
She got her dream job.
Because how much money does Becca make? A month. 1% of $6 million? $60,000 a month. What's that?
She's making 1.1. According to, yeah, she's making 1.1, so she's getting 66.
Okay. How do I recruit Becca? She's a big dog. She's a big producer.
Grease the wheels a little bit.
She's.
You
Sweet. She's like, show me the money. Show me the money. So I can't give Becca. I can't give Becca for 100 basis points or 1%. Becca is a top producer. I got to go out and I got to pay her 110. Okay? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Why?
Bringing in that much money.
Okay.
That's what the extra.
So still, she's going to generate revenue for me. Okay, here's the math on Becca. But Becca is a little high maintenance. Because I average a 0.5 point profit on production on Grady, right? So on Grady, I make 10,000 revenue. If I made the same here, it would be great. But she's going to cost me 10 extra basis points. Okay, is that going to take part of my profit? Okay, so now I'm down to 40 basis points. But she doesn't come alone. She has an entourage. She has an assistant, which is going to cost me 5 basis points. And now that I have $6 million additional production per month, we have to hire a new underwriter. Because now I have all this extra volume. And that's going to cost me another 10 basis points. And so all of a sudden I'm into Becca 125 basis points. So my margin is down to 25. Is she still worth it? Is she still worth it? Is she still going to make me money? Yeah, she's still going to make me money. Actually, Becca is going to make me a lot of money.
Yeah, the volume she produces.
Absolutely. Becca makes me, oh, I don't have that slide. Oh, yeah, she does. She's going to make me $15,000 a month, even though she's 3 times more production than Grady. Because I lost that extra 25 basis points, she's still going to make me $15,000 a month, or $180,000 a year profit. So, is she worth it? Okay, what's the upside to hiring Becca? Give me an upside. I don't have to pay her benefits?
Like, well, depending on what her compensation is, if you're just doing commission and no benefits, and she has to take care of that herself, then you don't have to worry about paying benefits for her.
Let's say the benefits are equal. Okay? Commission employees can still have all the benefits, all the 401k, all the retirement, everything that a salary person can have. So yeah.
Future sales, because she's bringing in a lot of extra customers.
Big customer base.
Ah,
Your customer base.
he's bringing in 10 clients a month, and she's bringing in 30 clients a month. That's actually more business, or what we call footprints in the ground, that I have trafficking through my shop. And so in the sales world, you have 10 happy customers, and the rule is they go out and tell 10 other people. She has 30 happy people, and they go out and tell 30 other people. Okay? So, yeah.
I was gonna say if her customers or clients are clients that could only be captured through her, then it's an upside. But if you could have captured them through other employees like him, then it would obviously be better to keep going with more employees like him. But unless, you see what I'm saying? Like if you could only get those employees through her because they're her clients or customers, then you should go with her. But if you could have got them otherwise, then you should go with her.
Wow. Senior class?
No.
No, but he's...
My GA.
Oh!
That's totally a cost benefits approach, because you're gonna, if you go with more normal producers, enough to cover what a top producer would bring in, then your costs are lower with them.
So you're saying it's better for me to go out and find 3 more $2 million producers?
It depends on how much benefits you are including in that. Because if you're paying benefits for one person as opposed to 3 more of him, then that could end up costing you more than...
It's all profit. So if I'm making 50 basis points profit on Grady and only 25 basis points on Becca, Is it more cost effective for me to go out and find 3 more Grady's?
Because then you don't have the assistant, and you don't have all her entourage.
Huh, can you say diva? So. What's 25 basis points? That's a lot of money. And I'm still getting the same volume. Yeah, in the back.
I was just thinking that, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. Why can't you just, you mix and match? Why can't you hire them both and keep her at like a low number and him at a high number? Does that make sense?
Nope.
So you hire her, but then you hire like 2 people with his skill. Does that make sense?
Okay, but I still have to pay 110 to get her.
I know, but she can help go and boost the profits by, the customers going out and telling people.
Okay,
Can I say something?
absolutely.
To add on to that?
Mm-hmm.
If you hired me, I could help train your other people with my math skills. So,
Great in theory. I have never met a diva that is ever going to give up her time to help train her competition. Sorry, great idea. So the question still remains, yeah.
If you want to have the best company and make the most profits, you got to have the best employees who produce the most. And so by going with somebody who actually brings in more for the company or can do more sales, whatever, that's going to benefit you and take her off the market for a competitive company also.
Whoa. He snuck a peek at my notes. So, right here.
It comes back to what Derek's saying. If she can reach an audience that the Grady's can't, then we want to stick with Bobby. Becca. But if we can clone Grady and get the same, if she's just producing more, but it's the exact same people, you just want more Grady's because your bottom line is the bottom line.
I pick up 25 basis points on millions and millions of dollars. Okay. But I'm going to go back to what your comments were. What if I don't hire Becca and she goes to my competition? Good for me, bad for me?
bad for you.
Momentum shifts. Recruiting always is benefit when you got a big hitter on your staff. You kind of parade them around. Sorry. But you do. Man, if you can put out there, hey, we've got a top producer, 10% national sales production, that is a huge recruiting tool. So am I willing to give up 25 basis points to keep her? Really? Right here.
Just a similar thing with commission. How did the summer sales get people to sign up for them? They say, look at Jim. He came home with $200,000 over for working for 3 months. Sure, 20 other people barely paid their
plane ticket,
their room and board, but Jim made $200,000.
Okay. So there's a question over here.
I was just gonna say, like, what if in your recruiting you focus more on hiring a big hitter who's intrinsically motivated, so you can get them with a salary maybe higher than Tyler's, but that still goes out and gets 30 loans? Like, I don't think that it's. It exists in the world.
They tend to know what they're doing.
It's possible.
Am I, even if I hire her and say I'll give you $15,000, $20,000 salary, what did she make?
I'm not talking about hiring her, I'm talking about hiring someone else that's not a diva.
Sorry. Everybody's going to refer to you now as the diva. Oh, there's the diva. She's back.
I'm talking about, like, overall with everything you're talking about, if you focus on your recruiting and finding the right talent that's more intrinsically motivated and developing a culture at your bank or whatever, that's people will still work hard and play hard or whatever. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What have you found if you bring us Becca into your organization and you have some other salespeople who are competitive? Does it boost the competitive and the sales of the other people around her?
Spoken like a true professor.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, sure, now you're going to say that. Yeah,
A good
suck up.
salesperson is driven by competition, is as much money, I believe, so.
Oh, absolutely.
I think both the positions can do it. A big swinger is gonna make everyone else look tiny compared to their numbers, which could force a lot of me
To step it up.
to increase.
What type of personalities are usually commission salespeople? Alpha. Absolutely. They're competitive. They want to win. They want 60 grand. And back to your question, yeah, there's a lot of great loan officers out there. But when they start becoming really good and see the kind of money they can make, it's really, really tough to keep them on a salary. Because why? The one thing about commission sales is that you will be compensated directly proportionate to how hard you work. If Grady doesn't want to work this week, it's okay. He's not going to make anything. But if he wants to work at 8 o'clock at night and meet people because they can't get off during the day, he's going to knock it out of the park. So yeah, that's the challenge, is that he's going to make $6,250, and once he does more than 3 or 4 loans, I don't have to stay late because I'm not going to make anything more. Do I want to come in on a Saturday? Nah, I don't think so. Okay? So, but no, back to his comments up there. Market share. When you can dominate a market share in your market, that's huge. It's huge for recruiting. It's huge for your footprint on the ground. If you have more market share, you have more happy customers going out and telling their friends and family, hey, I just got a great experience on my loan from Becca. It's valuable. Okay, but is there a downside to hiring a Becca?
Loyalty. You don't know if she'll be bought out from another company or your competitor, if she'll go to someone else because they offer her a better deal. Their loyalty is not the same as the 3 other ones.
I think it depends on your overall business strategy. What kind of an image are you trying to produce for your company? If you have a high-pressure situation where you have a salesperson who's forcing you into something, it can create a bad name around your company and maybe drive people away. Depends on your long-term goals as a business.
Okay, that's a great comment.
If the market tanks, you're not going to want Becca's because the total amount of loans are going to drop, I think. So, like, probably like 2009 would be a bad time to have a Becca.
Well, but
I think because
she's still gonna have a higher volume than a Grady, though. That's the thing.
One of the key things as a HR person, as you're examining and recruiting people, is you have to know what their numbers were made of. Okay? If a loan officer came into me and said, man, I made $30 million last year in production, I said, wow, that's a good producing loan officer. What percentage of it was refi and what percentage of it was purchase? Make a difference? Absolutely. Rates have just gone up 0.5%, 1%. If 90% of their volume was refi driven and they were only getting 10% in purchase money transactions, are they worth going after? No. When you recruit for longevity, you recruit for sustainability, you recruit for bottom line profit, and that's always based on product mix. Meaning that in a refi market, everybody should be busy. But you always want to hire people that are purchase transaction driven. Because rates up or down, always got to have a home. Okay? So what's another downside to hiring Becca? I think this gentleman in the back kind of touched on it. If you give a mouse a cookie, they want a glass of milk. I've never met a hot dog producer that didn't always want to beat you up for something. Next month it's, oh, I need a car allowance. Oh, I need a cell phone allowance. Oh, I need another assistant. Oh, wow. Comment. There's one back here. No? Yeah.
Going on what you're saying, like I'm actually in that position right now. I'm leaving one company.
You're a diva?
Commission.
No.
No, not a diva.
Okay.
I work commission, and I'm leaving this
I guess offering benefits to the diva, give enough benefits to keep her happy versus the other competition. So looking at the market and what other market around is offering, and at least offering that similar thing in your business will keep her in your company.
Is there always going to be somebody out there willing to offer Becca a little sweeter deal? Even if they make 5 basis points profit. 5 basis points profit is still profit. Can I continue to give and give and give and give? It gets to a point where you just can't give anymore. There was a comment over here. So, okay. Going back
She might want your best market instead of going to tougher market. She might be picky and say, I want to be in this area where they produce more. So is that, I don't know if that's the right call or not, but I can imagine it'd be ideal to have her in a tougher market maybe, where it's harder to produce those loans. But if she's like a true diva, she'll want your best market and she'll take a lot of those basis points that you're talking about.
Huh. Back to the professor's comment, she said, having a huge producer, doesn't that motivate your other loan officers to want to do better? Grady kind of said that too. But you run a risk of all your other loan officers saying, I'm so sick of her. I am so sick of her loans getting pushed to the top of the line. I am so sick of every time she says she wants something, she gets it. Do I want to lose a Grady? No. No, I do not want to lose him. He is my bread and butter. He's $10,000 a month to me, pretty low maintenance. He's not a diva. He's just money in the bank. By hiring, sorry, I'm beating her up. If I hire her, it's hard being a diva, isn't it? So if I hire her, do I run the risk of losing a Grady? Discontentment in the workforce? How's HR going to deal with that one?
You definitely don't want to lose your bread and butter. So, that's where your money's at, right?
When he comes to you and says, hey, I'm going to file a complaint. There's some disparity going on in my workplace here. I'm a loan officer just like her, and yet I'm not getting the same treatment. Is that an issue for HR?
Yes.
Every day. Every day. What's another risk in hiring a Becca?
I'm wondering about your customers. I'm thinking the salaried guys that are sitting in the office, they aren't a pressure to get that sale in, get it out, get in, get out. Maybe they can handhold. Maybe they can treat your customers with a little bit of kid gloves. Maybe they can introduce them to to your other finance offerings in your bank. There's got to be some good things these guys might do as far as your customer, I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm wondering about that.
Okay. Well, we're going to go down there. Yeah. Well, Tyler, he's feeling kind of lonely over here, man. He's like, I'm just barely squeaking to get by. So we're going to go there. What's another risk in hiring a Becca? Remember, I had to hire another loan officer. I had to increase my support staff to support her demands. If she leaves, now what happens?
You got to let somebody go.
I'm overstaffed. Now what do I do? HR?
Come on, Kyle.
Yeah, you gotta make the necessary adjustments.
Yeah.
Or find another diva.
Yeah.
Which is the most expensive HR cost? Turnover.
Turnover?
One of the highest.
One of the highest. Well, payroll is always the highest expense to any company. But yeah, if I lose her, I'm overstaffed. So now I'm still carrying that 10 basis points. So I just lost money by losing her. So is it worth it to hire her in the first place, having all that inherent risk? All those say yes? Tough crowd. All those that say no, wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. I know that everybody has a belly button out there. HR people, would you hire her?
No. Yes.
No? Wow. Little difference of opinion going on here. So,
I'd hire you, Becca.
yeah.
I don't know, to me, this may, I don't know exactly where you're going with this, but to me it seems like there could be a possibility for a combination of the two. You know, having a base pay for, base salary for a lot of your people, and then adding a commission that's a lot smaller than the 1%. And so you keep them so it's not as pressured, but you do incentivize them. You get people that are more loyal to your company because they need that base. A lot of people like that security, as opposed to those people that are a lot more risky. They're a bit more into it for themselves, as opposed to staying with the company and having loyalty to them. I mean, a lot of it depends on your market. If you are in a market where a lot of it is commission-based, you do have the Beccas out there that are in your competitors' places, then you have to run a different strategy. But to me, it seems like in a perfect world, you kind of have a little bit of a mixture. Motivate your salaries, but keep those people happy and helping your customers the most you can.
Okay. The problem is there is no perfect world. That's the cake and eat it too scenario. If I give him base plus commission, then I have all the inherent risks of both. And is the commission enough to drive behavior? Drive behavior. Alpha, not alpha. Is there any reason to reward non-alpha participants if they're not willing to stay till 8 o'clock at night or come in on Saturdays? I'm making the same amount of money. So, yeah.
I think still, I don't know if you understand my point earlier, there are people who are intrinsically motivated that aren't just about making tons of money, like they're salary people who will stay till 8 o'clock, who will get the job done. They're harder to find, but there are people out there that are like that. So I think that in recruiting, you can focus on trying to do that if that's what you want the culture of your company to be like.
Culture. That's the best word that we're going to use here today, because there's a place for both.
In regards to the customers or clients that they bring in, are they loyal clients? Will they stay with the company? Are they loyal to the company or to the diva? If he leaves, is she going to take all of your clients with her?
Yep.
So in regards to the other people, their clients are more loyal to the company itself, not so much to their own office. In some ways, it can be bad and good.
Okay. If you've already made a loan, then yeah, that customer's with you, but you're always in search of new generated business. New generated business. That's what our revenue comes from. Okay? Who's our customer? Who's our customer? Bob and Jane Smith that are buying a house. Is that our customer? All those that say yeah? Her customer is a realtor or a builder. We make the loan to the customer, Bob and Jane Smith, with 2 kids and a dog that want to buy a house. But typically, Bob and Jane Smith don't get to us unless they come through a realtor. And so when you say customers, her customer base is her realtor base, her builder base. And they are loyal to her. And so when she goes, they go. Because she has earned their business. Because she does stay till 8 o'clock. She does come in on Saturdays. She is a phenomenal loan officer. So, with that, why would any mortgage company or bank employ a salaried loan officer? Now we're getting back to why we have Tyler. Why would you employ this guy?
Long term, the big producer is going to go where the money is. Where Tyler is going to be a little more intrinsically motivated. And I'm cheating a little bit, we talked about it, but he's got a family, he's got kids, he needs the benefits. So he doesn't want to risk losing a job that pays him decently, that gives him all the benefits he needs to chase more money. He's going to be with you the long term. He's a long-term investment.
Good point. Yeah.
He can also help with all the with all the problems that come along while well, she's focusing on producing, and somebody's mad and they want her time. They want her to answer some questions, but she's just too busy to do that and produce at the same time. So he takes care of all the.
He's the hand holder. He's the calming. Well, he's only got 3 loans. I mean, you're not very busy. Sorry. She's got time to hold hands. So she's got 30 loans going. Busy girl. But she also has an assistant. She also has a staff. Some other things. Yeah. So, but now it does get back to this gentleman's comment here. There are those individuals that are not sales driven. Alpha people, highly sales driven, highly competitive. Doesn't mean Tyler's not wanting to be successful. It just means that he doesn't want to go out and put it out there every day, selling. He would rather be part of a corporation that has built-in clientele, known as bricks and mortar. What's bricks and mortar? Bricks and mortar?
Businesses, buildings.
There you go. I'll use brand X, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo has bricks and mortar everywhere. They've already got the expense. They capture about 17% of the mortgage business, which is huge. And they're on salaried loan officers. Why? Because they have a massive footprint. They already have the building. They've already got the phones. They've already got the lights. They've already got the entire structure. Is it hard for them to just drop a loan officer in a branch? And if you want to make $75,000 a year and live a comfortable life in Cache Valley, is it a good job? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. There is not one thing wrong with being a salaried loan officer. But this is about HR. This is about what you do as HR managers in dealing with the differences between a commission-based environment versus a salaried-based environment. Which do you think represents more risk to my company? Which one? All those say commission? Why? Why?
It seems like they're always looking for somewhere else to go. They're always looking for that next step up. They're always looking for something that's faster, that's going to give them more money.
Okay, that's risk of leaving. I'm talking about risk legally. Legally.
Well, I answered the salaried employees.
Riskier?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Well, I think they're tied more legally to the company. It's harder to, I mean, the company has more commitment to them and than they do, I don't know, legally.
Legally. One of your biggest concerns as an HR manager is the legal exposure to your organization. And is there more legal risk associated with this kind of based workforce or this kind of based workforce? So, do you have a comment?
I think commission loan officers might be a little bit more motivated to cut corners on loans and maybe make loans they shouldn't have, or, oh, they only have this much of a credit score, but maybe we'll slide just a little bit. And so I think they could be riskier in that sort of a sense if that's what you're looking for.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. She's making $60,000 a month. Not that she's doing anything wrong, and I know loan officers that are huge producers and they do it absolutely right. But anytime you're in an environment where you stand to make lots of money, the risk of impropriety goes up. It does. It's what happens when, and this was from last week, and this is not unique to the mortgage industry. Johnson & Johnson, the big pharmaceutical product company. Department of Justice also charged that Johnson & Johnson paid kickbacks to physicians and to Omnicare Inc., the largest pharmacy for nursing homes, to drive sales of a certain drug. I don't think it was Johnson & Johnson. I don't think it was corporate offering those kickbacks. Who do you think it was? Sales reps. Is there tons of money to be made in pharmaceutical sales? Absolutely. Would it be real easy to go to a doctor and say, hey, I'm going to make $5,000 on this order. I'll kick you back $1,000 if you'll drop the order with me? No. They wouldn't do that, would they? Does it happen? Is it a concern to HR? Absolutely. Castle & Cook, mortgage company here. Castle & Cook, forced to pay $9 million in restitution and $4 million in civil penalties for steering people to inappropriate mortgages. HR question. Is there more risk? Does there have to be more risk? Wow, you looked at my notes. How valuable is reputational security? Absolutely.
Like any bad headlines, everyone's going to read it, and people are going to look at your company differently immediately. Like everyone still looks at McDonald's in regards to the lady that spilled her coffee on her lap, and that was a lawsuit, and that was 15 years ago, 13 years ago. And they'll never forget, people will never forget that about McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lady was an idiot. I don't know if it was McDonald's fault that she was.
We learned about that. They have their coffee like dozens of degrees higher than normal, and she had like serious third-degree burns.
Oh, really?
All over herself.
Wow.
She tried to
really?
settle, and they would not settle. And so then she sued the crap out of it.
And she didn't get 60 million or whatever Seinfeld makes you think. She didn't get that much out of it.
HR question. Do you hurry and rush to settle?
Yes.
If you're
Okay.
280 degree coffee burns somebody, then
Yeah, and there's reasons to settle, but once you start to settle, what happens? Everybody lines up. Hey, I got the wrong mortgage. I'm going to sue. Reputational security. Quick story about myself. Worked for a company called Freedom Mortgage for 10 years. It was bought by a company named First Horizon out of Dallas, Texas. And then they were purchased by MetLife. MetLife, who hasn't heard of MetLife? Blimp, who's MetLife's mascot? Very good. MetLife bought First Horizon. 5,000 loan officers were flown into Dallas for a welcome party. Flew into Dallas. It was a party. They put out tons of money to welcome us to MetLife. So we go to MetLife, come to this party. Bill Wheeler, CEO of MetLife International, gets up on the stage and says, we are thrilled to have First Horizon as part of our MetLife family. You now make us whole. You bring us the one product we didn't have. We've got every other financial service except mortgage. We are now going to own the financial services. I mean, we are ecstatic. We think we hit the mother lode of companies that wants to give us everything we need to be successful. And with their brand name, no stopping us. His next comment was, make no mistake, people, and this is exactly how he said it, make no mistake, people, no one, and I mean no one, gives Snoopy a black eye. There is a person in this room that isn't disposable. Talk about a mood breaker. Yeah. But what was he saying? Don't mess up. Don't mess up. 2 years later, First Horizon, working for MetLife, was making MetLife $20 million a month. Sounds like a lot. It was only 1% of their gross monthly earnings. They were making about $2 billion a month. Bill Wheeler came out, said, you know what? Thanks for the good run. Effective in 2 weeks, we're close down the mortgage division. $20 million a month. 5,000 loan officers. Why? He couldn't afford to have headlines about MetLife foreclosing on grandma? Or MetLife making a mortgage to somebody that was now going to sue us because of impropriety? His reputation at MetLife and Snoopy was more valuable than $20 million a month. And it was a very small portion of his income as far as corporate earnings. But still, it did say volumes about what reputational value is. And so HR, how does HR protect the organization? Give me some reasons. Give me some ways that HR protects the enterprise. Jennifer? Yeah. How does HR protect the corporation? Any circumstance. Throw out an idea.
Well, they just need to be educated and well informed. They need to know the market and what's going on, so.
Okay. Let me start with this. What keeps Becca and Grady from being mavericks, from out there doing inappropriate things? Put policies in place? Risk of being fired? Do you think some people at Johnson & Johnson got canned over that? Absolutely. Mostly in the sales force. Loss of license. Loan officers have to be licensed. You lose your license, you're out of business. Your 60 grand just went up nothing. Well, you could probably go over here because banks aren't licensed. So you can go over here and work with Tyler, but you're going to give up your 60 grand. Loss of credibility. You can be blacklisted, which means that agencies will no longer allow you to produce loans for them. But what's HR's responsibility? First and foremost, training. You have to have a training in place because the feds will mandate it. Feds will come in and audit HRs to make sure that you have something in place to make sure that there is not abuse. So the HR department really can control the success of the sales force. So training, quality control, compliance, Fed regulations, and testing. Do you just hire a loan officer and then just put him out to work and then totally forget about him? No. You've got to stay on top of it. So, okay, we're just about out of time. I'm going to go through some real quick reasons. Why would a commission loan officer want to stay a commission loan officer? Money. Okay, what else?
Flexibility.
That was the next one on my list. Why?
Well, if my daughter has a basketball game, I can go to her basketball game. Or if she's going on a trip with their basketball team down to California, I can go and hang out with her and be a chaperone. It's all up to me. I can do whatever.
Absolutely.
Control her as much as I want.
Commission loan officers typically just that. Their time is their own. They can go out and market. They can go out and produce. They can be gone. There's really no clock for them to punch. They love the energy that comes from a sales-based environment. Why would a commission loan officer leave?
Make more money.
Leave.
Yeah, to make more money. Competitor offers me, 10 more basis points.
Very good.
Why would you leave commission?
Another reason they leave is because they hate sales. I was expecting that from you. So I asked him why he chose HR earlier. He said, I hate sales. Some people just do not like sales. Other than that, I guess we're supposed to break up at 1 o'clock. So other than that, thank you so much.
There's another class coming in.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you
so
much.
Thanks for letting me have fun with you.